if you use Netflix, then Netflix gives you a customized list of what you would want to watch. So that is basically powered by machine learning. Then
Hmm.
apart from that, there are voice assistants like Siri and Alexa. So they all work on machine learning under the hood to recognize what you are saying. I'll talk about three major things right now. So the first is obviously generative AI. LLMs are
Hmm.
all the hype right now. So even if you see most of the research papers that are coming in this field in different conferences, they are all about LLMs because LLMs
Right.
are the hot topic of research right now. So, like if you have seen the new model that OpenAI just released, Sora, so it just creates unreal videos. So it's like it wasn't even imaginable to do that 5 years back.
Welcome to Vibrant Publishers podcast. Our guest for today is Dhairya, who is a seasoned data engineer with experience across multiple sectors. He's also a technical writer and recently completed his master's degree from University of Waterloo, specializing in artificial intelligence and machine learning. His latest book, Machine Learning Essentials, is coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. Welcome to the podcast, Dhairya.
Hi, Nicole. It's great to be here.
Great. So let's start with the basics of machine learning, and if you could explain in simple terms what is machine learning, and if you could give some everyday examples of ML in action.
Sure. So machine learning is basically when computers learn from different types of data and makes predictions based on that data, but they are not actually programmed to do so. So it's not traditional programming, but it's a new field of programming, I would say. So it's like teaching machines to recognize patterns and improve over time. And some of the everyday examples in machine learning would be so if you use Netflix, then Netflix gives you a customized list of what you would want to watch. So that is basically powered by machine learning. Then
Hmm.
apart from that, there are voice assistants like Siri and Alexa. So they all work on machine learning under the hood to recognize what you are saying. And
Right.
yeah, and finally even your navigation app, so everyone uses Google Maps or Apple Maps right now. So
Right.
they all work machine using machine learning to predict traffic and routes all in. So yeah, basically that's it. It's everywhere.
Okay. Interesting. So now let's talk about your book a little bit. What inspired you to write Machine Learning Essentials? It is targeted towards beginners. So what can beginners expect to learn from it?
Sure. So I I myself learned machine learning, I would say the hard way, because there are a lot of resources available online, but there is no one resource to learn everything. So that's why that was my inspiration to write machine learning essentials so that people have a good starting point to
Hmm.
learn this in a easy and more accessible way. So beginners who are new to this field can expect to gain a very clear understanding of the machine learning fundamentals there are. So there are various types of learning methodologies within machine learning, like supervised and unsupervised learning. So they can learn a lot about those. Then they will also gain a lot of practical skills, because I believe in doing hands-on projects along with practical learning. So both of these go hand in hand according to me. So you'll learn a lot of that as well. So you will also code a lot in this book, which will help you gain a lot of valuable experience in this field.
Okay. Or are there any such tools that that can ease them into coding?
Yeah. So programming is, I would say, important for machine learning, but it's not as difficult now with new programming languages. And as you mentioned, if for platforms or tools, so there are a lot of tools like Teachable Machine by Google. It's a very interactive tool that people can use to learn what machine learning is intuitively. So they don't need to know coding for that. So they'll build an intuitive understanding, and then will ease through the coding part in the book. So there is a lot of sample snippets of code, and Python is very easy now to learn with a lot of resources available. which you'll find if you just go through the book or just the internet in general. So we'll use Python in this book, and there is a lot of these tools you can use to basically gain an intuitive understanding of what machine learning is.
Okay, and what other, apart from Python, are there any other beginner-friendly languages or frameworks for machine learning?
So yeah, I would say R is one such language that is used as an alternative to Python, but it's more towards data analytics. It's targeted towards data analytics, and Python is more general. So that's why I basically preferred Python for this book, and
Okay.
I mentioning about frameworks. So there are a lot of frameworks that are available in Python, like scikit-learn and TensorFlow. So these frameworks are a package of different machine learning algorithms, and they provide an easy-to-use interface for all these algorithms. So we'll use scikit-learn extensively in the book. So you will see how
Okay.
you can basically write your own machine learning algorithms, train your own models, and a lot more.
Could you expand on these two tools a little bit more? For example, the you mentioned scikit-learn was one
Yeah.
of them. So, what are these things exactly? What are these frameworks? To a beginner, what does it exactly mean?
Sure. So machine learning as a concept is very math intensive. So it's very important to know math. So if you want to code everything from scratch, it becomes a very big task. It's very difficult to do so as well. So we'll code some things from scratch, the easy algorithms, but the more complex the algorithm gets, the more difficult it gets. So these
Okay.
tools and frameworks give you a way to actually implement these models with minimal code. So you have a function that you can simply call and give it the data that is needed for training, and it will train it for you. So it will take care of the difficult parts that you need to code. It already has it packaged in a single nice to use package. Python package. So scikit-learn is basically one of those packages. And if we want to explore more on the side of deep learning, so that is vision based and all. So in that case, TensorFlow is the way to go. So these are the packages
Okay.
that help you gain this experience. Yeah,
So these two packages basically make things easier in the coding terms
exactly.
while
Yes,
doing machine learning.
much easier. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Got it. And if you could tell me, so suppose I'm a beginner in machine learning,
yeah.
so what are some skills and knowledges that I should be knowing before I begin with, or while I'm beginning in machine learning?
Yeah, sure. So, for this machine learning in general, you do need some mathematical foundation because, as I
Okay.
mentioned, it is quite math intensive. So, you need to know the basics of linear algebra, probability, and calculus. But it's not, I would say, a very strict requirement. Even if you know basic maths, you would be good to go because you'll be able to understand most of the algorithms there are. For some
Hmm.
advanced algorithms, you might require some additional knowledge in math, but that is also easy to learn because there are a lot of resources now available online. Then the second requirement is programming. You do need to actually know a bit of about programming. It's not necessary, but you will need to learn it because if you want to implement things that you have learned, you need a coding language or a coding medium to do so. So that's why we'll go through Python in this book. So that's highly recommended because it's really easy to learn and you have a lot of resources available. Then the third one would be, I would say, is a problem solving mindset because
Okay.
at the end of the day, machine learning is about solving some problems that are there in the industry, and that is how it came to be basically. So if you have a very curious mindset as to go through the problems and breaking them down into small parts, so that's a very useful and invaluable skill, I would say, and you'll pick up things much faster.
Hmm. Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So can a non-tech person also think about switching to machine learning, learning about ML, AI?
Yeah, definitely, because machine learning is quite hyped right now, and I would say a lot of non-technical people have much better problem solving skills. So for example, business analysts, they don't actually do a lot of coding, but their problem solving
Hmm.
mindset is such that they have to solve these business problems. So that is what is the most important when it comes to a primary skill. So it's really easy to get into machine learning because coding is very easy now. And as
Okay.
I mentioned, there are a lot of resources, but the book that I have written, it's a single go-to resource. So you can use this book basically to learn everything there is to know about machine learning, the basics, obviously, but then you'll also get a really good segue into the more advanced concepts, and you'll be much more confident going in.
Okay, so it's good for creating a base and then
Yeah,
moving forward to advanced levels.
exactly. Yes.
Correct. So now let's talk about the job roles in this field, the industries,
Yeah.
and what are some of the most in-demand jobs for that require ML skills.
Sure. So right now, ML is being integrated to each and every job. So with
Mhm.
the hype that is around generative AI, there is around generative AI, there is a lot of job openings that are specific to this machine learning criteria. So now even non-technical roles require people to have some experience of using generative AI, if not machine learning. And the popular job roles that I would say require machine learning as a whole are data scientist roles and data analyst roles. So they do require some knowledge of data and machine learning. Data scientist is more machine learning centric, but data analyst, you need to learn how to manipulate data. So that also will learn when we learn machine learning as well, because it's all about data when it comes to machine learning. Then the second
Okay,
role is the traditional ML engineer role. So that's essentially a core machine learning engineer who develops algorithms and basically runs them on production systems. There is also researcher roles. So there are AI researchers who work basically more on the research end of things. So that is also a very popular role because research is at its all-time high right now because there is a lot of research going around generative AI and LLMs. Yeah,
okay. So data science, AI, engineering, research, all of these come under ML.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So then, how can someone identify which ML career path suits them or
yeah.
that they should go for?
Yeah, so it basically depends on your one personal interests and strengths. So they have to figure that out basically. So for instance, if they like working with data and uncovering new patterns, so something that a business analyst does, but in Excel. So if you like doing that and want to basically switch careers, then data science would be the ideal career for those. Then, as I mentioned, research. So, if someone is passionate about research and the new technologies, in exploring new technologies and writing about it, then AI researcher would be the ideal role for them. And finally, if someone wants to actually build machine learning algorithms and deploy them on production, so that deployment part is a very important aspect, I would say. Then, in that case, ML engineer would be the role for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Got it. Which is the toughest one?
So personally, for me, research is something that I'm not that good at. So I feel that research is the most challenging because you need to stay up to date. But all these roles are equally challenging. But if you are passionate about these things, particular things, and you like actually working on data, then these roles would be a really good pivoting role for you
Hmm.
into this field. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. That gives some clarity. Now, let's talk about the trending things or innovations in machine learning that beginners should keep an eye on, or just in general, what is trending in machine learning? If you could share that.
So I'll talk about three major things right now. So the first is obviously generative AI. LLMs are
Hmm.
all the hype right now. So even if you see, most of the research papers that are coming in this field in different conferences, they are all about LLMs, because LLMs
Right.
are the hot topic of research right now. So, like if you have seen the new model that OpenAI just released, Sora, so it just creates unreal videos. So it's like it wasn't even imaginable to do that 5 years back, and they have done it. So
Right.
that's the major field of research and something to look at. Then the second thing is not very popular, but it's still very important in the industry, is TinyML. So basically, TinyML is running machine
Okay.
learning models, lightweight ones, on device. So data privacy is also a big concern with the LLM being so mainstream. So
Hmm.
uh, people are very afraid that what will happen of their data, because that is the data that LLM uses to train itself. So on-device
Hmm.
machine learning is something which will actually pick up a lot when these things come up, and that is termed as tiny ML, basically running ML models on small processing chips, so microprocessors or microcontrollers. So that is also one field I would say is very useful. Third point I would like to talk about is explainable AI. So it's called XAI short in short. So that's a field of machine learning which basically works on explaining the output that the machine learning model got. So
Okay.
for for instance, take a human. Whenever you answer something and someone asks you how you came up to that answer, you can easily explain that to the person who is questioning you. But it's not the same with machine learning models. They don't have that capability right now, and that's something people are working very tirelessly to add. They want that explainability factor because it's very crucial when it comes to industries like healthcare. If a machine learning model comes up saying that you are 60% or 70% diagnosed with cancer, and if you it doesn't have an explanation of that, it's very difficult to actually trust that output. So that is where explainable AI is coming into picture and gaining a lot of traction as well.
Okay. Got it. And what about emotional intelligence in this field? What are your views
Yeah.
on that?
So emotional intelligence is something that models as a whole, machines as a whole lack. They don't have any emotional intelligence, and that is also a area of research that actually a lot of researchers are working on. So if you see, there are a lot of new challenges coming up. So previously, the challenges were focused on data, but now they are focused on explainability and emotional intelligence. So
Hmm.
that's something machines lack. So there's a field called social robotics, which basically deals with this. So when it comes to
Okay.
emotional intelligence or giving these machines emotional knowledge, that is where the social robotics comes in, and that is where a lot of researchers are actually working on making the machines better at understanding humans.
Okay. So it's getting more and more closer to human brain, you could say.
Not so it will take a lot more time, because our human brain, we even we are not sure how the brain exactly works. We have 50 or 60 percentage of idea, I would say, but yeah, it's still a very fast developing field. So
Hmm.
we'll see a lot of progress, but exactly, it's getting closer by the day, but it's still quite far.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dhairya, for sharing your insights in the world of machine learning. Got to learn a lot of new concepts in machine learning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Nakul, for inviting me.